What is the... Okay, this is a video audio broadcasting for one of the members in our Quantum Energy Activation Facebook group. And the challenge that this person wants some strengthening for is, person wrote, want to let go of ego and come more into my power. So in this this case, power is a weakness, but it's not their leading weakness. Ego is another weakness, but it's also not the leading weakness in them. So the leading weakness for them is misinterpretation. So when they think of the two weaknesses that they wrote down, one was ego, the other one was power, because those showed up weak. They were weak in what he wrote, but the misinterpretation was the leading weakness. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to strengthen this person for misinterpretation, and it's more specifically misinterpretation both in ego. What is ego and power? And for some reason, there's a weakness of where it's coming up in this situation where ego and power are the same. So let's make him strong for that misinterpretation and misrepresenting those two things, making them one of the same. So we're going to strengthen them to that. So when I think of misinterpretation, there's still a little more weaknesses in the misinterpretation. So I'm going to strengthen the person again for that. And that's actually coming from this person's ancestors on this person's father's side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to strengthen their ancestors and any cumulative effects down to 0 minus infinity, and cumulative effects going into the distant future. So we're going to strengthen this person all the way to the distant future and make it strong to coming back to their distant past. So to come back to the present, or it's strong, but when it still connects to the distance past. So what we're going to do is going to strengthen this person for that. So misinterpretation is still weak, and that is having different what we call personalities in the UN method model. So what we're going to do is we're going to strengthen him to 5 different personalities. And these 5 personalities have different agreements. They disagree with each other. So what we do is we'll make them strong to agreeing, not agreeing, always being right, never being right, and being neutral to each other. So now when I think of these 5 personalities, so there's 4 of them are strong, but 1 is still weak, and that's the dominant personality. So what we're going to do is we're going to strengthen this person for dominant personality, and that's more specifically being dominant in and when it comes to finances. So I'm going to strengthen this person for finances and being dominant, others being dominant. So there's a weakness of others being dominant in their finances, which affects this person. So what I'm going to do is strengthen this person for that, for being even with people with dominance and without dominance. So with dominance, they're strong, but when to being even with people without dominance in their financial and their finances is a weakness there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to strengthen this person for that, make him strong for that. And any karmic issues that related to it, we're going to strengthen, clear. Okay, so now when I think of misinterpretation, there's still a little more left that's going on there. So, and that's more the person's has a weakness to intuition. So it's his person's parents' intuition that they have a weakness to. So they're strong to their own intuition, but their parents' intuition is what's affecting this person. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to strengthen their parents for their own intuition, and then strengthen him. And so let's say if I take this person's father, mother, and them, so if that's a triad right there, and that is weak when it's three of them together. So what we're going to do is make them even to each other. So father, mother, mother to father, um, this person to their father, this person to their mother, back and forth. So now we're going to strengthen internal dynamics in this between them, and the external dynamics being influenced by them interacting with each other. There's a weakness there, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to strengthen them for that. So now when I think about the internal dynamics, the external dynamics of the triad, there's still a weakness in the internal dynamics of the triad, which is this person, their father and their mother. So that's coming from the spirit. So let's strengthen them to spirit and make them strong so they can be without the spirit interfering. Okay, so now they're strong to that. So now let's see. So when I think of the external dynamics are strong. Okay, so now let's give it a second here. All right, so now misinterpretation of other people's finances. Okay, so misinterpretation. So now misinterpretation is strong. It's strong in the future, but it's still weak in the past. So in the past, let's see, it's coming from the ancestors. So let's strengthen the ancestors to that, and let's see in what specific area their ancestors have had misinterpretation. And again, it's in finances. So what we're going to do is we're going to strengthen his ancestors to finances and more about controlling other people's finances. So with these ancestors, let's strengthen them to that, and any curses that are related to that, and we'll delete that down to 0% and make this person strong to that. So now the misinterpretation. Okay, so in the distant, so now there's a weakness in the distant future. So we strengthened something in the distant past, but what it did, it triggered something in the distant future. So let's see, what was it in the distant future that made it weak? And that has to do with like getting rid of stuff. So we're going to strengthen this person for getting rid of stuff. And let's see if we need to check in which area. And that has to do with time. So wasting time. So I guess getting rid of wasting. So wasting time. So let's strengthen this person for wasting time in the past. No, and wasting time in the present that's affecting the distant future. So we strengthen this person for that. So now when we think about misinterpretation in a distant future and a distant past, and now, so now this person is strong to that. So that was the first leading weakness for this person. The second one now is power. So when I think about power with this person, there is a weakness. So we're going to strengthen this person to power, and having the power to overcome adversity that's a weakness in this person. So what we're going to do is we're going to strengthen the person to that, and that's coming from some negative life experiences, and more specifically past phobias. So we'll strengthen this person to any past phobias, and phobias that have to do with aging. So we'll strengthen this person for aging. And so now when I think of power, so now the person is strong to power. So ego is the third weakness. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to strengthen this person to ego, and it's other people's egos is that there's a weakness too. So we're going to strengthen this person to other people's egos, and it's more in the egos of people in the education system. So we're going to strengthen this person to the education system, and it's more, if we look at it, it's more specifically in the spiritual education system. So what we're going to do is strengthen this person. So when I think of the spiritual school system, they're strong. But now we're going to go even more specific. Is the new age, or let's call it the old age. So the old age spiritual system, as opposed to the new age spiritual system. So what we're going to do is we're going to strengthen this person to the old age spiritual system. And so now when I think of ego, there's still more weaknesses there. So let's see what else is causing a weakness there. And that's coming from the person's upper extremities. So let's strengthen the person's upper extremities as more of the left extremity, left arm. So we'll strengthen the person's left arm. Okay, so now when I think of ego, so ego is strong. So now that we have the three leading weaknesses, what we're going to do is we're going to see if they're now that it's a triad, we're going to see how the triad itself is holding up. So when they come together, all three of them, there's a weakness there, so we'll strengthen that. And so it's still weak, even though we strengthen it. So there's still some weaknesses when all three of them come together. And that is coming from some spiritual achiness, a feeling of achiness on a spiritual level. So what we're going to do is we're going to strengthen this person for that. And the next one is physical struggling, sensation of physical struggling. So we'll strengthen this person for that. Okay, so now when all three of them come together, they're strong. But two of them come together, there's a weakness there. So we'll strengthen this person for that. And that's actually coming from the cells of the person's body. So we'll strengthen the inside, outside, top to bottom of the cells, and we'll make them strong to integrate with the rest of the system, specifically integrate with the person's structure of the body. Okay, so now this triad, when the two come together, now when they separate, they're strong. Coming together, any kind of combination is strong. Okay, and now they're going to look at the internal boundaries are strong. Diversities are of this triad is weak, so what we'll do is we'll strengthen this person to diversities. And now this triad staying strong in the future. So in the future, there's a weakness there. So let's see if it's in the so we'll strengthen them for that, and let's see where that's coming from. And that is actually coming from the feng shui of their business or place of work. So what we're going to do is we're going to strengthen the feng shui of the place of business and have that integrate, strongly connect with this person back and forth. Okay, so diversity is now strong into the future. Okay, so let's just check it one more time. So misinterpretation is strong, power is strong, and ego. So there's still a little bit weakness in the ego part. And so let's see where that's coming from. Okay, so there's some sort of stagnation in this person's energy that's causing them to still be weak in their ego. So let's strengthen them to their energy inside their body, and more specifically energy outside of their body. So we'll strengthen them to the energy outside of their body. Okay, so now when I think of the ego is strong now. Okay, so that does it for this person. Please let us know in the group of any changes or how are you feeling, if it's the same or different, and we'll stay in touch. Thank you. Bye-bye.